Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of me DIY. As you all know, my name is Liz and I am a mom to 3 boys, and I'm so excited about this project. This was a project for my best friend's baby shower and I am making backdrops. So I'm going to be taking you guys through it, and I cannot take all of the credit for doing this work. I had to outsource some people who know a little bit more than I do about woodwork and all the things that I was trying to do. So I did get some help. I got some help from my mom's partner, my uncle, and I got some help from the guy that made the twins bed. He lives in our complex and his name is Johan. I will leave Johan's details down below because he does do professional work and he does make furniture for people, so I'll leave his details down below. I wanted to get as much knowledge as possible about doing everything that I was doing and also get some advice so that when I do take on other projects, I know what to do and I know what to refer to as well. They have a very broad knowledge about this and this is what they work with, so it was very important for me to also get some tips from them about new projects as well. This project, it was not very difficult and it did not take very long. The only reason why it took long was because I have kids and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I can't really do things as I wish and do when I want. Okay, so first thing I did, I went to Builders Warehouse. I think that's what it's called, yes. Builders Warehouse, the yellow one. The yellow one. I didn't take a video of this, but yes, I went to Builders Warehouse and I got a board, which is what you are seeing in the picture right now. I got this board, and because I don't have anything to cut the board, I asked Johan, because he has a lot of tools, I asked Johan to come and cut it for me, and because it was his tools as well, he did the cutting, but he also let me do the cutting, which is so exciting because I learned a lot, and it looked intimidating, but it really wasn't. Once you get started, you kind of know what to do, type of thing. So I got the board and he asked me to mark it where I needed to be cut, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm marking it, I'm using a pencil and I'm marking the back side. I don't know why I marked the back side, but you can mark any side, especially if you are going to be painting. So yeah, you can mark any side. So I used the string method, so I put the string in the middle, so sort of like you want to draw a full circle, but instead I wanted to draw a half circle, so I made string long enough to just go from one side to the other side. So with the smaller board, because I wanted it to be like a half circle, I started from the straight end going all the way to the other side. This method worked perfectly for me, but if you have like a, what do they call them, a compass, or yeah, a compass, then you can definitely use that. So that is what I started with, and then we got to the very exciting stuff, which is cutting. intimidating,
Yeah.
but it's not.
It's not bad, eh?
But it's not bad, hey?
I mean,
Well, I actually
you
did a good job.
bloody well.
Right?
It's
Good, good,
good,
good.
lad. Just this part, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we just round that corner.
Yeah, so you just need to send a little bit and then you sort it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send it to that way. Or should we cut?
It's just that the
No,
design.
you know what, sand it, because
Okay.
the chances of messing up with the jigsaw on
Yeah.
that small
Higher.
spot is so much higher.
Then with a sender.
So the nice thing about Builders Warehouse is that they can cut your woods and your boards and anything that needs to be cut basically to whatever size you want. So while I was there buying this board, I think it's called an MDF board. So yes, while I was there buying this board, I had a pretty good idea the height that I wanted it to be and how I was gonna cut it. So I was able to get them to help me with wood that I was going to use, and they cut that up in the sizes that I wanted. So for the big board, because I was also trying to save costs, I did not get a thick wood for the part where it's going straight onto the board. I got a thinner board, which actually worked, and it also worked out to be a lot cheaper. I glued on the thin boards. I did not take any measurements, to be honest with you. Probably not the best thing, but like I said, because I was there and there was someone who was helping me who was very, very nice. They were all very helpful, and also we problem solved a lot while we were there. And also because I wanted to save costs, he helped me make decisions on the wood as well. So basically, we just measured the board, and I told him that this is where I wanted to end, and then he did all the measuring and he did all the cutting, and in the end everything ended up being perfect, although a few things did change later on from what I thought we were going to do to what we actually did. So as I was saying, the first step was to paste the two pillars that were going to make the board, because it's very flexible as well. The two pillars on both ends that were going to make the board still, and that were going to hold the legs that were going to support it to actually stand upright by itself. So I did that with wood glue, and I put on some clamps and waited for it to basically dry. The advice that my uncle gave me was that with wood glue, you need to make sure that you put it more towards the ends of where you are pasting it, instead of just in the middle, so that it holds better. That's the advice he gave me, so I just thought I should share that with you guys in case you might need this information. So the next step, when we were waiting for the glue to dry on the board, we were problem solving, and I was showing him what my vision was and how I wanted it to work. So basically the legs need to open up so that they can sit on the ground, so that the board can stand up straight like this. And while I was at Builders, the guy was like, let's use hinges. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. It also saves me money. But now, while we were busy, it was going to be very hard to have the legs sit close straight after without cutting them at a 45-degree angle. So we had to go to the shop, and we bought a hand saw with a little that comes with a board, and we used this to cut the 45-degree angles so that it can sit straight. And there was also a lot of problem solving with that because we cut the wrong sides and we had to recut and recut. Ended up buying this thing, it was 200 and something, and for some reason I thought it was like $50, but it's not. So we ended up buying this hand saw thing with the little box so that we could cut the 45-degree angles. And what happened was, I'm not sure if I showed this in the video, but what happened was we need the part where it's going to be laying on the ground to be at an angle, and also we need the part at the top to also be at an angle. So we thought cutting opposite sides would work, opposite 45-degree angles basically, it would work, but it didn't. So we had to cut the 45-degree angles both like facing the same side. The boards that were going to be supporting the board needed a little bit of more stability, and for them to be solid I could not get the thin boards, so I got thicker wood. So I got thicker wood for that so that it can be stable. Yes, that's what happened. We cut the legs, and after everything had dried out, my uncle showed me how to do one. I struggled a lot with what's the word? Manually screwing in the screws, because he advised that I just drill a little bit so that the screw can go in, and then screw in the rest so that it can actually hold tightly. One thing I can say is that I see why people invest in electrical stuff, because this handsaw made me work so hard. I felt like I was at the gym literally lifting weights. My back and my arms were so sore because you need to hold the thing down and literally cut through the wood with all the strength that you have. So my uncle did the first bits for me to see how I actually get things done, and he facilitated doing the other stuff so that I can learn, obviously. And after that we do a test. Thing I took from that was that I need a electrical screwdriver, otherwise I'm not gonna get anything done. So I need an electrical screwdriver, which is something I need to get, and hoping to get, and I actually saw them on special at Builders as well. So that's one thing I would say, or otherwise to get a smaller drill bit. I got a steel drill bit that was like 2 millimeters. It's very thin, and then the screws, make sure that the screws that are going in are a little bit bigger so that they can hold the wood, which is about, I think the screws that I used were 3 millimeters. And something that I did not see coming was that the board is very thin, and the wood that we put on the board, that we glued on the board, is also very thin, and the screws that came with the hinges were quite long, so they would have went through. So I had to get shorter screws, and I think I got over 3 millimeters. This is the exciting part. Before going to Builders, I went to a paint shop, and I wanted to check how much paints were, and after I found out that it was quite cheap. Okay, it's not cheap, but it was quite cheap. I decided to get this paint. Now, the hard part about this is that trying to find the right shade of pink, because that's what we were going for. It was very hard. And I would say buy all your decorations first before you paint the board, because it will be easier to match the paint to all your decorations. So yes, that's what happened. But thankfully I did pick the right pink after going through a lot of pinks. I think the pink was called pink Dom, pink pop. That's the paint I got, and it was water-based. And I asked a lot of questions about this as well. Should I set down the board first before putting the paint on? Do I need a primer? Will it not slide off? And they said, no, it won't slide off. You can sand down the side that you are painting. Because I was painting the white side, I did not need primer. But if the board is brown like the back side, that absorbs the paint, so you need to prime that first. Because the white side was already there, and because no one was going to be touching the board, I did not need to put a primer, so the water-based paint worked perfectly fine and it held well. So I put on the first coat quite lightly and I waited for it to dry. And I wasn't putting on the paint for it to really like have a big coverage, but just so that it covers the board, so that the next coat it would really be nice and pink or whatever. But the paint was looking quite white. I honestly feel like I could have gone for something that was a little bit darker. In person you could see it, but in pictures and stuff, it looked a little bit like a very white with a little bit of pink. I would have loved it to be a little bit more pink, so that's fine. Remove that happened, but it was a very beautiful shade, to be honest. I just hope that it would have stood out a little bit more. And for the smaller little half circle, I had some wall paint left from my wall painting the twins room and Tunzukane's room. It's warm white by Simply Color, and it was also great. It worked out really nicely. Actually, against the pink, it was actually quite beautiful, rather than not painting the other one and just leaving it white. second coat on, I just sanded the board lightly and went over it with a second coat so that it has a nice smooth finish. But it turned out that I needed to do another coat as well. So in between the second coat, before the third coat, I also sanded it lightly with a 220 grit paper. That is the most fine I could find. So it was the finest. I couldn't find anything higher. So I used a 220 grit sandpaper just to lightly sand it and to make it look nice and smooth. And the if you have some spillage on the board and the paint dries quite big with like a big chunk, so lightly sanding it also makes it nice and smooth. And then I did my third coat and it looked perfect. Hi guys, so it's a few days later and I just thought let me come down and check how it's looking. Guys, I'm so proud of myself. I am so proud of myself. It looks so good. Let me show you guys what it looks like. Look at this beauty, guys. Look at that. It is so pretty. I love the soft pink. To see if I needed to paint this other piece as well. I'm thinking I should, because that white is too stark white, and you know we're going for a softer tone and a warmer tone, and this looks so much nicer. And now for the final reveal and how everything looked at the baby shower. And I am so happy with how this board turned out. Let me see, things that I'm taking away is that actually for any color there are a lot of shades of pink, blues, off-white, so many. So as I mentioned before, buy the deco first, take some of the deco samples into the paint shop and check that you have the right color. Honestly, this can be like a 2-day project in between waiting for your glue to dry, but otherwise it's quite quick, it's very easy. And another thing that I would have liked was for it to actually be a little bit taller, but that was the only board that was left at the store. I would have loved it to be a little bit more taller and a little bit wider, but it still turned out perfect. I know I'm going to be using this a lot because I have another baby shower coming soon, and oh, not mine. Just putting it out there, not mine. I have another friend's baby shower coming up soon, so I might use it again. And the nice thing is that it's gonna look different because this is for a boy now, it's not a girl. And the twins' birthday and Sonsokani's birthday is coming up soon, so I can use the board still. Yeah, and I have family and friends who also might want to use it, and maybe I should start charging. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this DIY and I hope it helps you. If you have any questions about something I did not mention in the video, do comment down below. I'll be sure to answer you. Do remember to subscribe, like and comment. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and have a awesome day.